I'm Kill Paris, and I just put out an album called Galaxies Within Us. I didn't even know that I was making an album, and then I just kind of just did it. Cut it! Cut it!
That's fine.
Cut it! So for those of you that have followed me and the Kill Paris project for a long time, you'll notice that the first album I put out was Galaxies Between Us, and this one is Galaxies Within Us. Now, at the beginning of making Galaxies Within Us, I didn't know that that was what it was going to be called. I didn't know what the direction was. As much as I would love to start an album with a concept, it really didn't work like that. It was more of just me kind of following my heart through the whole process, and that's what it turned out to be. I decided to leave LA, move down to Florida, get away from the city, and try to balance my life with being in the studio a lot while also getting outside more. And during the making of Galaxies Between Us, I had spent just so much time inside. I ended up getting pneumonia at the end of the tour that I was on, so that kind of put me in a really dark place for a long time. And the decision to leave LA and to get a lot of sunshine, to get outside, to balance the whole thing, that's where all the inspiration for this album has come from. With the making of Galaxies Within Us, I completely changed my schedule in terms of how I work on music. I think like most people, I used to be the type of person that stayed up really late, working on stuff on the computer super late, and I just found that I could, although I would be creative that way, it wasn't like a sustainable creativity to where, you know, I might do something really good one day, but then for the next like 4 or 5 days, like I'm tired and everything because my schedule's all messed up. So I started to wake up early, try to see the sunrise, and then work on music for a few hours a day, you know, anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, while still taking breaks and getting outside. So the whole inspiration behind that comes from Wim Hof, and I had been a fan of his for a while and was doing his breathing technique. If you guys aren't familiar with it, you can find him on YouTube. And it's really just a really simple breathing technique, but with this breathing technique, you're kind of able to reset your body, kind of reset just how you're feeling. And so I used this a lot during the making of this album. It was just a way to kind of keep myself balanced and again, to make my creativity sustainable, as opposed to, you know, just going on like nightly benders and then paying for it for the next, you know, 3-4 days. So that's been a really, really big part of making this album, and I feel like that's what's made me be able to make it in under, you know, really under 2 years, about a year and some change. So yeah. Speaking of Wim Hof, I like to think of him as the shaman and the guide throughout this album, because he's on the very first song, which is a sort of an intro track called Life is a Rhythm. And on that track, as well as the other track that Wim Hof is on, I used the MIDI Sprout, which is this little device that you connect to a plant with these 2 little electrodes, and all it's doing is measuring the electrical differences between those 2 points. So plants, much like us, we generate very low voltage electricity, and that's changing all throughout the day. So aside from hooking it up to plants and then that electricity generating musical notes, you can also just hold on to these little electrodes and it'll produce music notes. So I thought that was really cool, and doing the Wim Hof breathing technique while holding on to these electrodes it made some really interesting results, and that's where a big part of the music in this album was directly inspired by that, and kind of taking these seemingly random notes that are coming from within your body and then translating that into some sort of a music, some sort of a song. So aside from Wim Hof, I also got Big Gigantic to do a song with me called Fizzy Lifting Drink. And Jimmy Tense is doing the vocals on that song, and I'm really excited to finally do a song with them. We've been talking about it forever, and I know some fans are going to be really excited about that. Also, Father Dude, I've been a really big fan of his for a long time, and we got to do the song Easy on Me together, which, believe it or not, was one of the easiest songs to get done on the album. No pun intended. It just happened that way. He's a great guy. And we also got Tim Moyo, who, if you've been following the singles off of the album, he was on Two Minds. And him and his buddy Kuda are also on Inside Out, which is one of my favorite songs on the album. I really hope you guys enjoy listening to Galaxies Within Us. I had a blast making it. None of this could have been possible without Monstercat and the Monstercat community. You guys have been so welcoming and so nice to me. All the artists involved with the making of the album, my manager for getting all this stuff together and making it happen, and Chris Blackstock for doing all the amazing, incredible art for this. And guys, really, if there's one takeaway that you get from this album, I really hope it is just, you know, taking responsibility for your own happiness and your own well-being and not leaving it up to somebody else. And finding balance in your life. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me from this album, is learning how to make stuff and get stuff done without, you know, killing myself and being inside on the computer for 10 hours a day. So I hope you find balance in your life. I hope you find balance in this album. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And I'm going on tour as of right now, so look out in a city near you. We're bringing Midi Sprout along to do all these really cool installations, so you get to play with the plants and play with the little Midi Sprouts, and it's gonna be a really cool experience. I can't wait to see you guys out there, talk to you, give hugs, take pictures, whatever you guys want to do. I'm excited to see you. I love you. I'm Kill Paris. I'll see you out there. God damn it.